everyone, welcome back to Misericorde. The last time we left off, we had a feast day for Hedwig and Angela became our ally. Anyway, we're now in the garden with her, and without further ado, let's just get right into today's episode. Very well, her eyes narrowed, and she looked up at the shadowy abbey wall that loomed above the garden. What is it? Nothing. It was just a bird. Well, what now? Business as usual. In the morning, I think I will talk to James myself. Perhaps I can get something out of him you could not. She's doubting us, our ability. Tonight, unfortunately, I have some work to go over with the superior, and I imagine we will be forced to entertain the bishop until he retires. He's not staying in the hospital, is he? That would be rather awkward, I imagine. I hadn't considered. Perhaps the superior will provide a bedroll and send him to the Misericorde. Anyway, what will you do next? The others are throwing a sort of continuation of the feast tonight in the cellars. I was told it was meant to be a sort of wake for Katherine. Now this is what I've been waiting for. Angela's lips pursed ever so slightly. I had no idea that this proposed gathering was such an offensive idea to her. It sounded like a good opportunity to speak to people candidly. Perhaps I will find a new clue. Indeed. Well, goodbye. And with that, she left. Her shoulder bumped into mine as she passed me, and her stride looked a little less confident than usual as I watched her turn the corner at the end of the hedgerow. Oh, that is interesting. I wonder if she feels left out, considering it's supposed to be a wake for Katherine and, well, no one invited her. I sighed. The sun was still setting. I had a good while yet before I needed to appear at this controversial party. I wandered back the way we had come past the chapel. The more I wandered around the abbey, the stranger I found a pile of debris lumped unceremoniously next to the building. The chapel itself appeared sturdy enough, so I was at a loss as to what all this loose stone was for. I gasped as I realized that there was something moving atop the rubble, black fabric draped over the broken rocks. I don't like the music. I froze in place. Oh, I hope it's just a cat, please. Was this Eustace breaking her promise to me yet again? Or was I the first person in history to catch a ghost off guard? Oh, no. No. I squinted through the dusk, trying to decide whether or not to bolt. You know, if it's me, I will be bolting. You best believe that. It turned around to face me, and I tensed. Only... Oh, thank goodness. It was just Margaret. Oh, hello, Hedwig. Oh, it's you. You gave me quite a fright up there. I think I already said that we need to stop meeting like this, didn't I? We really do need to. It's no trouble. I am just naturally jumpy, as it turns out. I suppose that wouldn't be a problem in a cell. There is only one way people can come at you in there. Indeed. What are you doing up on a pile of rocks? Oh, just taking in the sunset. Sister Margaret, even I won't buy that one. It was worth trying. I was kind of actually gonna buy it. Well, I need to get into the chapel. There used to be a way in through here, but when the clock tower collapsed, it blocked the passage. Have you tried the front door? Haha. The soup locked it for whatever reason. And the back door as well. Clever clogs. Oh, well, that's a shame. I suppose you could just pray out here instead? Or anywhere? I don't need to pray. I need to... Well... She ceased peering at the wall of the chapel where I presumed the rubble had filled in whatever entrance she was hoping to find. Can you keep a secret? It's not anything bad, is it? No. Well, not really. Only a little, at worst. Oh. So? Can you? I sighed. What was one more on the pile? Yes, of course. Well, as I'm sure you noticed, the superior's organ sounded a little off tonight. Did it? She shot me a withering look. Anyway, that might have been my fault. A little bit. It was a little bit Katherine's fault as well, but she's busy. I need to get in there and fix the problem. What do you mean it's your fault? Mr. Margaret! I remembered the first conversation Margaret and I had ever had with Katherine. I thought that was just a joke. A cruel joke, but idle chatter nonetheless. It should have stayed that way, but I fear that we might have taken things a touch too far. She looked a bit upset tonight, didn't she? As well she should. You'll get no argument from me. Anyway, that's why I'm up here. I'm trying to find a way in. Why not just come clean? Where's the fun in that? Besides, I would rather not be stuck on privy cleaning duty for the rest of the year. Well, that sounds horrible. Well then, why not just do it tomorrow before service or after? That might have to be the plan, I'm afraid. But there's a good chance she'll try and play it again, and I doubt she'll maintain her composure another time. I thought hard about a way to help. I did not approve of Margaret's mischief, but I was at the very least pleased to see some empathy and effort to correct her mistake. What about the bells? I don't follow. Someone is going to ring the bell before liturgy tomorrow, surely. Whoever did it would have to unlock the door. Couldn't you get in that way? Margaret hopped down from the pile of rocks and grabbed me by the shoulders. Hedwig, you're a genius. Someone is going to ring the bell tomorrow morning. It's going to be me. Oh, well, there you go. No, I mean, I can make that happen. What? I'm sure whoever got assigned bell duty this week will jump at the chance to sleep in after tonight's little party. I'll just go tell the soup that I volunteer right now. She patted my arm and began to jog away. See you in the cellars. Wait. What is a clock tower? Oh, right. Well, a clock is a bit like... Oh, so are clocks a new invention or something? Imagine if you didn't have to ring the bells at morning, noon, and dinner yourself. It's a big machine that does it all for you. Okay, well, I guess clocks exist, but not clock towers that operate in that machine-like way. Like the animal statues by King Solomon's throne. I had no idea we had such wonders here. Margaret looked oddly stern. Yes, I suppose it is a bit like that. It just seems a bit... Well, Margaret seems a bit unhappy by the conversation. Extravagant. The soup was very excited about the project, but between you and me, there were a few of us who thought it was the waste of money. But she had secured a good deal on the work and wanted it built quickly. Normally, these things are reserved for big cathedrals in cities. But you look at it now and... Well, it looks like we got what we paid for in the end. I'd heard the superior thought it was a bad idea. I'm sure she says that now. Oh, the superior. So... why hasn't anyone moved all these stones? Have you tried lifting one? A fair point. I'm surprised you'd never come across a clock before. They're expensive, but they're not exactly new. Isn't there one in Comedia? What's Comedia? Whoa. You haven't read Dante? Oh my goodness. Oh my, what? Seriously? I'll never escape from Dante ever. I guess I really should get to reading the whole series. Not a series. You guys get what I mean. Now that surprises me. Now it was my turn to be uncharacteristically stern. I have not read anything that isn't biblical canon, errata, or scholarly commentary. Listen, I really must run and catch the soup. She knows that Hedwig is gonna launch into a whole a spiel about the Bible, so she's running away. But we'll try and catch up about this at the party, yeah? I think you'd probably like it. I'll look forward to it. Margaret grinned and then jogged off towards the superior's office. I sighed and continued at my own pace down the path towards the cloister, where I could see the torches being lit. I headed up the stairs to the dormitory. I reasoned that if I really was going to burn the midnight oil with everyone in the cellars later, I might as well get some rest. However, the dorms were livelier than I'd ever seen them. Everyone's doors were wide open, and I could see several sisters milling about. One was on her knees, scrubbing. I froze in a doorway. The ink! Oh, the ink! My god, this stuff is resilient. You should take up stone carving, Moira. It's just as permanent and a lot less messy. It wasn't my fault. It was like this when I got here. Oh, hello, Hedwig. I stepped forward nervously, ready to be chastised. Oh god, this is one of the words that I always have trouble with. I could probably mix something up that would help. The last stain remover I remember you mixing up for me burned a hole straight through my robes. I appreciate the offer, Darcy, but I think I've cut as much of it up as I'm going to. I'm sorry, Moira. Whatever for? I don't know. Okay, I think that Moira is honestly a very sweet person, that she doesn't even suspect Hedwig, even though Hedwig is the last person to be in her rooms, but she seems genuinely confused. Well, or at least her face does. I must have knocked it over when I was getting fresh clothes from your dorm. You must have. You definitely did, Hedwig. I really was a nasty little rat. Miraculously, Moira chuckled. There is no need to blame yourself. I think you have noticed knocking a whole ink bottle over, silly. I almost objected, but then a small crowd around Eustace parted enough for me to see who the culprit everyone had agreed upon was. A cat? Oh, it is. We really need locks if Katherine's going to have a cat running around. It's not my cat. Why does everyone think it's my cat? Eustace ignored her. This was a disaster just waiting to happen. I keep all my bottles under the bed so nothing gets knocked over. Eustace stood up, groaning a little as she bent her knees. I'd keep your shoes on out here for a while. I think I got all the broken glass, but you never know. Thanks so much for that help, Eustace. I did my best inside my room, but the paw prints... Eustace nodded and put the brush she had been using to scour the floor back into a wooden bucket at her side. The paw prints were not gone, but they were at least faded. Oh! Hedwig! You should tell Darcy about your vision. Her... what? Oh, that... Ooh, do tell? Perhaps it would be best if you took Hedwig into your dorm to chat about it a little more privately. Oh, alright. I'm sorry, Hedwig. No, it's quite alright. Really, I had no reason to be upset. I had made no demands for secrecy, and under normal circumstances, I'm sure I'd be thrilled. Perhaps even a little proud, were I to be brutally honest with myself, to have it be known that I had seen a vision. But this day had been such a violent, emotional journey that I couldn't help but feel annoyed. Darcy, on the other hand, looked positively elated. Yes, come with me. Darcy's room is so messy, just like how I imagined it'd be. She beckoned me inside her room as the rest of the group dispersed. She shut the door behind her and gestured for me to sit on the bed. It was hard to find a spot that wasn't covered in books, bags, tools, and containers. This is exciting! Have you ever had a vision before? Never in my life. What happened? Well, it's rather unpleasant to tell you the truth. Oh, they often are. I have seen a lot of gruesome things in mine. According to Eustace, anyway. What sort of gruesome things? It's chopped off? Oh, I don't like that. Stuff on fire. Man with too many eyes. The list goes on. How frightening. I think it's worth it for the ones that are less scary. And really, the scary ones are important too, I think. They are a rich tapestry. I think that's a very good way to look at it. So, what do you see? No holding back. Start with before the vision, actually. What were you feeling? She had produced a quill and paper from her little reading desk. Well, I was rather upset. I had a horrible time in the village, truth be told. Sorry to hear it. And I sat down in a town square. I told her everything in much more detail than I had given Eustace and Moira on the way back up the Abbey. It was easy to be forthcoming around Darcy compared to almost everyone else here. Wow. Exciting. Is it now? Oh, incredibly. What could it mean? No idea. Oh, is something wrong? No, just... I was hoping you might be able to help sort it out. I would be happy to help, but I can't give you the answer. I don't understand it. I wouldn't know where to begin understanding it. Well, it is probably about God. I suppose that much I had gathered, I think. See, you did know where to begin after all. What do these things say to you? I don't know. You must know. Otherwise, you would not have seen them. What if it's an omen? I wouldn't know then. If God is trying to tell me something, surely it would be something I needed to know and didn't? Darcy shook her head. It was odd seeing her look so authoritative. Even in a garden, she never commanded this sort of presence. God would never show you anything you did not have the capacity to understand. God may not speak in words, but he understands language. How else would he communicate with us and the Israelites then? The Jews and the Romans. How would he reach the heathens in the east? Or the bloody French? God showed Hildegard a shape of light and let her conclude it was a map of the cosmos. He even sent Moses a burning bush before he spoke plainly. And he sent me a vomiting dog? Perhaps he is yet to speak plainly to you. Or perhaps he already is. She emphasized this point with a dramatic gesticulation. I wasn't sure whether to be amused or frustrated. Maybe Darcy is God. Do you understand any of the visions you've seen? Not entirely. If only Katherine were here. She understood hers very quickly. With my help, of course. Which gives me the utmost confidence that I can help you. We can translate what God is saying to you. I would appreciate that. I am yours. However, I must think on it. Of course, there really is no great rush. She scrunched up her face and started stroking her chin, and I realized she meant to start thinking right away. She is adorable. Darcy is adorable. I stood up and bowed my head. My thanks, Darcy. She nodded gently. I left to retire to my own room. The crowd that had surrounded the ink spillage had dispersed. Only Moira remained leaning against her door, looking more exhausted than I'd ever seen her. Any luck? We're going to keep at it. Good, good. She looked pensive and preoccupied. I'm sorry. Oh, it's no great loss. I can always ask the superior to send away for more. I just worry that damned cat is going to cause more trouble elsewhere. I'm sure we have some spare ink in the library. Ooh, I might take you up on that. Although you might have to ask Eustace. I know she can be a bit particular about supplies and so on. Hehe. It can't hurt to ask. No, it can't. Can it? You're right. Sorry to be this much of a downer. She fixed her gaze on the faint paw prints on the floor again. Eustace had clearly done her best to scour the stone, but there was still a visible trail leading out of the dorms to the landing. Is it really so much of a nuisance? It sounds silly, but I don't trust it. I'm old-fashioned, I suppose. She sighed heavily. What is a nuisance? Oh, no, are you talking about cats? It was very cute once upon a time, but once it grew up, I had no idea it had been a problem for that long. We don't get the usual vermin up here in the hills. It's far too cold. Whoever brought it here just wanted a pet, I think. Another one of this Abbey's great mysteries. What are some of the others? I would guess that it was Katherine with a C who brought a cat up here. It seems like a lot of things end up being Katherine's. I won't say Katherine's fault. That sounds kind of wrong, but a lot of things come from Katherine, I would say. I caught myself too late to keep this rather stupid inquiry to myself. I'm convinced my habit of answering every statement with a question will be the death of me. Hehe. Luckily, Moira didn't find this question odd. Where to start? Who paid for it? Who still pays for it? Is it haunted? Oh, Darcy appearing in there gave me a little bit of a jump in my heart. She kinda did materialize out of nowhere too. Yes! Darcy had emerged from her room without either of us noticing. Do you really think so, Darcy? I know so. I have thought about it a lot recently, and I finally know for certain. This place is very haunted. Ugh, I hope not. Darcy shuffled past us, leaving Moira looking a little worried. I wanted to say something comforting to Moira, but the evil sigil carved into the walls loomed in the back of my mind. It was becoming harder to disagree with Darcy's assessment. I was curious what had prompted her escalation from a little to very haunted, and I thought about following her to ask. But Moira kept talking. Sorry, Moira. You are very sweet, but this is a line of questioning I would like to explore further. That night on the landing, when you said you saw a ghost, I know Eustace claimed credit, but the more I hear from the others and the more I see myself, I sometimes wonder. If it's any comfort, I don't know what to believe about it either. What was it like? Terrifying. And then when everyone assumed it was a practical joke, I felt very small. I would too. I must apologize for throwing my lot in with them. It's no trouble. I can scarcely believe it myself. It goes against everything I know, everything I hold true. How could I judge anyone for dismissing my account? You are too forgiving. You did not see it. You have nothing to apologize for. That's not true, actually. What do you mean? Remember in the village? When I whispered to Eustace? I was telling her that we had to stall so we wouldn't get back to the Abbey too early for the surprise feast, right? Since everyone was getting ready for the feast, which was meant to be a surprise. Well, it was a lovely surprise. So, how could I be upset? Moira smiled. Her eyes were a little damp. I felt horrid for keeping you there against your will. I felt horrid being there, but I think in the end, this day ended up being rather good. Really, that's a relief. I thought she was gonna share a ghost story with us. She wiped her eyes with her sleeve, then stood up straight. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, though. We've got a wake to attend, remember? Right. I think I'm gonna lie down for a while to recuperate. You should. It's been a long day, and it's gonna be a long night. Hee? Of course. She smiled at me and then stretched her arms above her head, letting out a huge yawn. I think I might do the same. Knock on my door if you get up before I do, won't you? Of course. We went into our separate rooms. I think I fell asleep the moment my eyes shut. I'm scared about what may happen because it's awake. And I guess that's where all the ghostly stuff would happen. And I'm starting to think that maybe rooming with someone else would be a very good idea. That's what I think, though. I awoke with a start. That damn knocking in the walls was back. Oh, I looked out the window to see the moon was high in the sky. At the very least, I could thank the creaky old building for waking me up at the right time for this party. I groaned and rolled out of bed. I really should have stripped down before sleeping. I felt too warm and a bit pasty, despite a cool night breeze coming through my window. I adjusted my clothes as best I could. On my way out, I nearly tripped over Medea, which I picked up and put on my writing desk next to the desiccated copy of Matthew. I was getting a little tired of having books of odd import lying around my dorm room, let me tell you. Hello, Hedwig. Hello, Katherine. Margaret. We should go. Yes, we should. They looked oddly serious. Moira emerged from a dorm room as well. She looked rejuvenated since the last I saw her. The nap had done her some good. Hello, shall we? I suppose we must. Moira looked surprised by Katherine's maudlin tone. Maudlin? We traveled to the cellars together in silence. The Abbey looked quite mysterious at this time of night. The pale blue light of the moon was competing with the flickering orange torchlights. As we approached the cellar, I realized just how close we were to the superior's office. Is this really wise? Surely the noise will carry... I doubt it. We'll be dead in this... We'll be dead in the cellars? No. We will be deep in the cellars. Dead in the cellars, God. I hope that is not foreshadowing from me. But still, I couldn't help but wonder, why is Katherine and Margaret so serious tonight? And I wonder if this novel has a bad ending, I would say there's a bad ending in here, and Katherine might kill us, maybe. But I mean, I don't think so. But that's a possibility. We'll be deep in the cellars, and these walls are thick. Not to mention that bloody great door of hers. I doubt she'd mind. It's all for Katherine after all. Of course. Only a few torches down in the cellars had been lit. I could already hear music echoing around the cool underground walls. It was altogether rather eerie. A sort of fortress of casks had been erected around what appeared to be the designated celebration area. A few of the barrels had been arranged like little tables carrying wineskins and cups. Adela had one of these makeshift tables to herself and was playing some sort of card game with Sister Charity. Whatever the game was, it finished as we approached. Adela flipped a card over, causing Charity to erupt into giggles. Hello, everyone. Would any of you care to see the future? Oh, tarot cards? No, thanks. Katherine and Margaret made non-committal grunts and left me alone with Adela, who was already shuffling the cards. You should. It's not half bad. I was already planning to leave early and I got a... What was it you said, Adela dear? Your present card was the Three of Cups inverted. In that position, it can refer to a lack of time to socialize. Dead on, isn't it? Anyway, I can't stay. These old bones won't survive staying up too late. I just wanted to raise a glass in poor Katherine's name at least. You know what, guys? I just realized something. In all the games I've played so far on this channel, aside from Sleeping Dogs, but all the visual novels, that means Clannad, Umineko, as well as Misericorde, had tarot cards in it. This is cool, I guess. It's not that uncommon, but if I had a coin for every time it happened, I'd have 3. No, that is not how it works, but you guys get what I mean. But yes, this is kind of funny. She was really quite drunk already. Katherine, I almost called her Katherine, but she's Charity. You should stick around for just a short while longer. I believe we are giving a toast to Katherine in just a few minutes. Oh, you've talked me into it. Heh. She toddled off. Well, would you like a glimpse of the future, Sister Hedwig? I'm not sure I like the look of this. Is this some kind of Iberian custom we shouldn't play around with? Iberian? Adela frowned as she continued shuffling her deck of cards. This is an Italian pastime my mother enjoyed, Sister Hedwig. Oh, I felt rather embarrassed. I kept doing this sort of thing. I decided that agreeing to participate would be the best mea culpa I could offer, despite the misgivings I had with the activity. Go on then. She rapped the cards against the table sharply. I will turn over 3 cards. The first card will represent your past, the second will describe your present, and the third card will give you a hint of your future. Are you ready? This was silly. Yes, let's try it. Oh, that's it. Oh. The 7 of Cups. It represents illusions, imagination, creativity. But as you can see, it is inverted. From where I'm standing, I suppose this is about your perspective, so yes, it is inverted. This card represents your past. You were in your cell for a long time, were you not? You spent a lot of time with nobody but yourself. Nothing but your own imagination. Clinging to this past will not help you. Your second card, the present. Oh, I wonder what card this is. It looks like there's a person. In cups? No, I have revealed the world. Once again, it is inverted. In this reversed position, the world represents your inner torment. You are secluded. You are lonely. You are withdrawn. Oh, now you're just being mean. Because something has been troubling you, yes? Well, yes. Something you need to get to the bottom of. Something that has been preoccupying you ever since you left your cell. Am I correct? Yes. Of course I am. You were alone in your cell for many years, and now you have been set adrift. That conflict has been eating away at you and driving you further inward. The world in reverse, believe it or not, could be a good sign, Sister Hedwig. It represents your current state. You may yet find the answer to your questions within yourself. Choose a final card and we shall see. I pointed at the topmost card on the pile. I did not particularly care for this game and I wanted it to be over as soon as possible. He doesn't find it cool? I find it cool. Oh. The Queen of Swords. Reversed. Everything in reversed. All of your cards have been reversals, Sister Hedwig. That is interesting. Is it dangerous? No, it just means that you face many challenges. Lovely. A reversed Queen of Swords in this position means you will continue to have a hard time moving forward into the future. You must make some decisions, Sister Hedwig. This Queen in reverse suggests to me that you must find some strength inside yourself to move beyond your current predicament. Perhaps there is something small you can think of and change. I will have to think on it. I desperately wanted to leave the table, but Adela was shuffling the card pile again. Let us ask the cards a question. Think hard, Sister Hedwig. What would you ask the cards? You do not need to speak it loud. Ask the question yourself and then pick a card. I hated this game, but I didn't want to upset Adela. I had already seen a real vision today. I reasoned that I had the strength to endure this silly little pagan ritual for one more round. If I could not be flippant openly, I decided I would ask these cards something disdainful, if only in my own mind. Is this real? That's what I landed on. I gestured to the bottommost card in a pile that I could see peeking out from beneath the others. Let us see. The High Priestess. Oh, telling you that it is indeed real. That is interesting. What does it mean? Well, to be honest, I think this card is imbued with such mystery that your answer is unclear. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. I did not like this answer at all. I stared at the card, deep in thought. It felt oddly similar to looking at my reflection in a bath. Isn't it funny how every card is imbued with enough mystery to mean whatever you like? I jumped. I hadn't noticed Eustace looming. The cards have malleable meanings, it is true. That makes them better at their intended purpose, not worse. Oh, I don't disagree with you there. Adela shot Eustace a nasty sneer. Oh? Beef? Beef between them? I was relieved that someone else was the target of her ire now at least. Do you not have any sense of wonder? No love of mystery? The church holds plenty of mystery for me. Isn't that right, Hedwig? It is a wide world, and I believe we must be flexible if we wish to spread the faith around it. I opened my mouth to refute this, but I caught myself before saying anything. There was no need to draw Adela's attention back to me. I may have found this talk blasphemous, but at the end of the day, I was a bigger coward than I was a devout Catholic. Poor Hedwig. Another thing I was coming to loathe about myself. We'll leave you to it. Hedwig hasn't even gotten a drink yet, isn't that? Right, isn't that right? Yes. Goodbye then. She busied herself with her cards. Eustace tugged my sleeve and pulled me away from the table, although I did not need much convincing. She can get a bit funny about her hobbies. I'm surprised she's allowed to bring fortune-telling here. Those cards are blasphemous, surely. I'm not sure Adela think that hard about these things beyond the aesthetics. I would call her an easily distracted traditionalist. She led us to a free table near the edge of the makeshift room, thus far untouched cups, and then began pouring 2 drinks. You've had a long day. Indeed I have. How are you feeling? She nudged a full cup in my direction, which I took with a quickness that surprised even myself. Tired, but also very, very awake. Like I could sleep forever, or never again. Darcy was the same way when she started having visions. So you believe me now? I said I believed that you believed you had a vision. Ultimately, what I think does not matter. She drummed her fingers on the top of the barrel-cum table. She stared off into the distance, deep in thought. I want you to know that I am looking out for you. Do you understand that? In what sense? I can't say. But I promise it isn't out of disrespect. Why can't she say it? That's kinda suspicious. I am not being condescending. She was being very condescending. You being at a wake for Katherine, it feels quite strange, uncomfortable. And I felt similarly about you working in the library as well. I keep glancing up from my work, expecting to see her sitting across from me, writing God knows what. But instead, I see you. And that isn't your fault, to be clear. But it stings every time. I can only apologize. I am no replacement for her. I was never trying to be. I was very angry when I first heard that you had volunteered for an old position. What a climber, I thought. You regretted taking such extreme vows and jumped on a rare opportunity to leave. I know several other sisters think the same way. I don't think that anymore, just so that you know. What changed your mind? You are... Oh, she swore! You are fucking miserable. This wasn't something you wanted, was it? She peered at me through her thick glasses. I knew that there was no way I could lie. She was clearly comfortable in her deduction already. No. The superior put you up to something, didn't she? Oh man, if Eustace knows, I feel like everyone else would know as well. Yes. I wish she hadn't. I sometimes feel the same. She wanted some objective eyes and ears, I take it? Oh, so she knows. Everyone knows. She's not satisfied with the conclusion that that man killed her. Yes, that's it exactly. Of all her idle interests, this is easily the most annoying. She poured herself another drink. What could convince you to just give it up? Oh, she's been quite interested in making Hedwig give up this questioning for a while now, isn't it? With the last time when she tried to do the prank thing, wasn't it because she wanted us to not investigate? Oh yes, that's exactly it. That's why I tried to scare you, you know. But you're braver than I thought. Nothing. Oh, please. There must be something. No, there isn't. I don't think it was James either. How could you possibly have an opinion on this? You never met either of them. That's not true. Katherine came to my hydroscope several times. Yes, to talk about what? Place? You didn't know, Katherine. Not the way I did. Nor anything close to the myriad connections she had with everyone here. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you picture her? Companionship? Someone who I could talk to about scripture on a level no one else ever has. Yes, she was very good at leveraging people's interests. I know she left a few sisters hurt when she moved on from certain interests. Are you one of them? No. But that is certainly an opinion several people here may have. I don't know. Eustace kinda suspicious. Probably suspicious. She knows if she answers yes, that gives her a motive to kill Katherine, though. Still, you admit I have some knowledge of the situation. Why is it then that you want me to ignore all of this so badly? Eustace looked around to make sure that nobody was within earshot, and then leaned across the barrel to speak in a harsh whisper. Poking around for perceived conspiracies is what got her killed, and I don't want the same to happen to you. You, or anybody else. What do you mean? So you don't think James killed her? I didn't say that. Then, Eustace leaned away suddenly. I intuited that she had seen someone approaching out of the corner of her eye and bit my tongue. Hello? Is this wineskin still full? Eustace began pouring wine for the two of them. They took their cups and settled in with us. The conversation with Eustace, it seemed, was over for good. Has Adela read everyone's fortunes yet? He told me I had a lot of anger in my past. Too right. Did you know that the death card doesn't always mean something bad? I nearly screamed when she showed me that one. I'm not sure the cards actually mean anything. They can mean everything, which is just as unhelpful. Still, it's a bit of fun, isn't it? As long as we don't take it too seriously. Margaret chugged the rest of her drink down and slammed the cup on the table. Right. I suppose I should get back to the loot. She left the table and Eustace scooted around to better talk to both Moira and I. What's got Katherine in such a bad mood, do you think? She gestured towards a tall woman who was leaning against the barrel all by herself, looking positively ashen. Oh, something must have happened. Huh. That's not like her. Not at all. Do Do you think we should ask her? Maybe later. Not now. I'd rather wait until she got less wine in her. I made eye contact with Katherine by accident while the others were talking. She sighed deeply and then looked away to pour herself another cup. Oh, maybe she knows that we've been poking around Katherine and James, and now Katherine is being made the primary suspect of the murder, and that's why she's so upset about it. That's really not like her. I had in fact seen Katherine in a similar state in the Misericorde not very long ago, when she had been staring to the fire and lamenting her lot in life. She had alluded to her old home life then. Now that I knew the rumors surrounding her exit from the village, I had a sinking feeling about what was bothering her. You don't think she really did what they say, do you? Kill her husband? Moira and I both coughed into our drinks. No, I don't think she did. No, nor me. She's a bit odd, but I don't think she's that kind of odd. What kind of odd is she then? Look who's talking. Flora, how I missed you. You are sometimes kind of annoying, but she is sometimes quite fun to be around. Flora had arrived without anyone noticing and looked ready to pick a fight for some reason. Eustace turned around to address her curtly. I never said I wasn't odd, but I think we can all agree that Katherine and I are different kinds of odd. Never mind. Wine me. Moira obliged immediately, lifting up the wineskin to pour a mug for the impatient young woman. Go easy on the stuff this time. You're not my mother. Thank God for that. Flora stuck her tongue out at Eustace and left, presumably to go bother somebody else. Christ. I know it's normal for young nuns to act out, but she's been acting out for a long time now. I bristled at the curse, but the insinuation that Eustace found Flora's behavior somehow beneath her bothered me more. I opened my mouth to say something about it, but Moira got there first. It's probably for the best. She was always more tactful than me. You like to act out too, Eustace. Just in more elaborate ways, I suppose. Like the prank. My pranks have always been elaborate and thought-provoking. What? Thought was dressing up as a ghost meant to provoke. Ah, a ghost. We all laughed. Even Eustace. I wish I knew how to do that sort of thing. If I had been left to my own devices, I would have likely started another argument with Eustace. Woman to woman, Eustace and I had a relationship that seemed liable to fall apart at a moment's notice. With Moira around, I felt part of an inseparable trio. Eustace glanced across the room at Margaret, who was fiddling with her lute while standing on top of a crate. Katherine had wandered over to the makeshift stage as well, and still looked a bit dour. Her and Margaret exchanged a few words. Neither of them looked thrilled, honestly. Finally, Margaret shrugged. Katherine sighed, then appeared to pull herself together somewhat miraculously. Margaret strummed a chord and spoke loudly to everyone gathered in the cellar. Everyone. I know we have some very important drinking to get to, but there's someone who won't be joining us tonight who we need to pay tribute to. A murmur of approval echoed throughout the room. Someone who can't join us ever again. It has been several weeks since we lost our dear sister, Katherine II. I am sure she'd be delighted to see all of you here. Annoyed, perhaps, at a few of you, but that's nothing a few drinks couldn't fix, I'm sure of it. Everyone chuckled, but I was left confused. What sort of mourning was this? We will never have a sister like her. I dare say there isn't a convent in the country who will. In the world, most likely. I miss having the competition. Her and I had unparalleled beauty, wit, and grace. Oh, seriously. I came up on top, of course, but it was very close. More laughter. But she handedly bested me at other things. Her boundless love for others, her endless interest in all manner of scholarship, her frankly rabid hatred of Italians. Everyone found this one particularly hilarious, but I was more lost than ever. And the Spanish, or was it the Portuguese? I can't remember. She certainly got her licks in on the English as well, which she raised her mug into the air and the crowd followed suit. Fair play. Fair play to all of it, I suppose. Where else but England would Katherine II get stuck with a convent full of Spaniards and Italians? She was Irish, of course. Mora put her hands together in front of her mouth and let out an approving howl so loud I flinched. What is this, Irish pride? Everyone else found this very amusing. She liked to remind us of that whenever she could. I once asked her, why not go back to Ireland then, when I was particularly irritated with some of her good-natured ribbing. And I swear this is true, she looked at me dead in the eyes and said, my dearest Katherine, ignoring the fact that I must remain here as a nun, I would never consider Llanberis anything less than my home. How very trite, I thought. I still do, most of the time. Llanberis rarely feels like home to me. The hallways are drafty. What little work there is to do is tedious, and the tedium only increases when there is no work left to do. It rains all the time, and it's freezing cold even when the sun is shining. That all being said, I realized something recently. I may grouse about this place, and I'm certainly not going to stop, but Llanberis certainly feels like less of something without Katherine II around. And I think perhaps, if she considered it a home, I could too. So maybe it is a home. For better or worse. I miss her, and I think I would miss all of you just the same were any of you to leave. Most of you. The crowd laughed again. Katherine raised her mug and began pointing at people in front of her. Charity, what will you miss most about Katherine II? I'll miss chatting with her about the past. Nobody else here wants to hear about it. Too bloody right. Marta? I'll miss her assistance in the cellars. Flora? I'll miss having a real friend. Adela? I will miss having a sparring partner. Hold on to that one, I doubt you'll ever duel someone again. You two were complete mad women. Eustace? I will miss our conversations in the library. Someone Eustace enjoyed talking to. What a rare person she was. I think we only have one other here like that. Darcy? Sorry, what was the question? What are you going to miss about Katherine II? Oh, I will miss having someone to discuss about ghosts and spirits with. Steady on. Mora, I'll miss her accent. She was choking back tears. Everyone chuckled sympathetically at her silly answer. It was a little taste of home, I'm sure. Hedwig? Only joking. Margaret? I could have shrunk into a mote of dust. I will miss playing music with her. And we'll all miss hearing it. Speaking of, Margaret, you did say Katherine wouldn't be joining us tonight. But perhaps if we drink enough and sing loud enough, she'll join us. Am I right? Come now, if I can't hear you, she certainly won't. Am I right? Everyone began stomping and clapping. Some people were banging on barrels to make extra noise. It was so raucous that I was worried the superior might descend the stairs to chastise us all, but nobody else seemed to mind. The evening descended into chaos from there. I had no idea what I was meant to do once Katherine's little speech concluded. There didn't seem to be much else in the way of eulogizing this wake. The sisters were all drinking, laughing, playing chess, and reading fortunes from that demonic deck of cards. Frankly, I felt sick. I stood at the edge of the cellar next to one of the barrels, holding a mug that I took the smallest sip from every now and then. I felt even more out of place here than I had in the Misericorde. I was confounded by the realization that that place, which was designated specifically for rule-breaking, had felt less debauched than what I saw before me. Margaret played her lute for what seemed like hours, taking breaks only to swig whatever drink Katherine handed to her. Katherine herself seemed to be in a better mood than earlier, although she might simply have been too drunk to feel anything. Even Moira was acting far more depraved than I was used to seeing. She was dancing like mad, bumping into people and cheering and banging on barrels to create a makeshift percussion section for Margaret. Adela made her way over to me, smiling. "What are you doing all the way over here?" "Oh, I'm just tired, that's all. Come and join in." "I'd rather not. I'm happy here." "Do you feel out of place?" "I just didn't know Katherine that well." "You're not here because of how well you knew Katherine. You're here because everybody likes you, and that's why Angela's not here." "What rubbish." I didn't know what to say to her, so I took a sip of my drink in a feeble attempt to hide. "You need to trust what the card said. Allow yourself to discover where you belong." I nodded in a non-committal way. Mercifully, it seemed to satisfy Adela, who danced off back towards the rest of the group. I could hear wood scraping against stone. Moira had pushed a crate next to Margaret and was clambering atop it clumsily. Everyone? She wobbled and nearly lost balance until Margaret caught her. "Thank you. Everyone, I think it's time we properly welcome our new chronicler." She pointed at me drunkenly and I froze. Everyone turned and raised their mugs to me. Katherine could never be replaced. But Hedwig is a lovely new presence here, don't you all think? I was practically begging to be struck down by a lightning bolt. Anything to end this embarrassment. The feast had been bad enough, but seeing the sisters fully uninhibited, smiling at me, seemingly entirely earnestly as they toasted me, it made my blood boil. I don't really know why, it just felt wrong. But looking at all these drunken, drooping faces gawping at me, I wasn't sure I wanted their approval. 3 cheers for Hedwig! Hup hup! Ooh, do you hear that? They said hooray! Hup hup! Hup! Oh, someone spilled something. I was rescued by an ugly sound. Flora had wandered over to one of the casks and attempted to open it, only to break the bung completely. Flora, what are you doing? The skin was empty. I was going to get more and just broke. Adela and Marta stormed over to the barrel to attempt to help. Flora was covered in red wine. Her wimple was undoubtedly ruined. "You really are a piece of work, girl. That is not even the wine we are drinking." "I bloody hope not. It smells awful." "What did you do?" "I didn't do anything. It broke on its own, more or less." "You ripped the whole faucet out. How did you manage that?" "I barely touched it." "You're a bad worker and a worse liar. Get out of my way." "Whatever." This was Sister Katherine's first batch of sherry, wasn't it? Of all the casks to break, well, this one is gone for good. Aw, no, Marta, don't, please don't. Marta yanked Flora towards her by the scruff of her neck. "Oh no, I thought this might happen." And smacked her face with raw power I wouldn't have expected from her. Honestly, this isn't the way to go about it, but I mean, I can kind of understand where she's coming from. Since it's Katherine's cask, no less. What do you have to say for yourself? Marta raised her hand again, but everyone rushed forward. "That's enough, Marta. It was an accident." Marta let go of Flora and walks away to join Charity on the other side of the room. The cask was still gushing wine onto the floor. Everyone started inching backwards to give the dark liquid a wider berth. Moira tried to pull Flora aside to comfort her, but the younger nun sprinted past her towards the cellar stairs. What should we do? There is not much we can do now. It will soak into the stone. Some got onto the casks beneath it too. Those have probably ruined now as well. Just from having something poured on it? This is a delicate business. What was that you said about it soaking onto the stone? It will, believe it or not. Although a mop would not go amiss. No. Let it... What? What are you talking about? This is Katherine's sherry, right? The wine she worked on when she tried her hand at winemaking. We should let the Abbey have it. You mean... Katherine made this. If there's a piece of her soul, or spirit, or... essence, I don't know. Then the Abbey should drink it. All of it. She can be part of the Abbey forever. Not just stuck in some barrels. Eustace! That is a beautiful idea. Very romantic for Adela. I had never known you to speak with such poetry. I have my moments. I agree. What a beautiful way to honor her memory. It certainly is unique. Befitting, I suppose. When you say all of it, Sister Eustace. All of it. Anything Katherine made. The mood had soured somewhat when Flora had broken the cask, but a new buzz of activity was starting. Should we just pop the rest open? Let's smash them. That is more like it. A cheer went around the room. Should I go get an axe from the workshop? Good idea. No, I have a better idea. Eustace? Why not use Katherine's sword? Oh, the sword again. Ooh, isn't that dangerous? Absolutely. No more or less than an axe. What about spears? I would really prefer the axe, I think. Spears are more effective than both. I'll get Katherine's sword if you'll spare us a lecture on troop tactics. Everyone except Katherine whooped and clapped. Is that not rather... ghoulish? She was killed with it. The mood soured instantly. Oh. You know, I think this is exactly why we should use it. The body, the cask is Katherine's body, the wine, Katherine's blood. Should her sword's last act be so grisly? We have a chance to wield it to celebrate her. I resisted the urge to point out that the sword's most recent acts were to slaughter a goat and scare me silly. That actually makes some sense to me. I agree. It's fitting. I'll go and get it. Back in a moment. Katherine's mood had turning in. Nearly everyone else seemed convinced of this ridiculous idea. However, I think we'll be getting on. It was a lovely night, but I'm too old for this. We need our beauty sleep, don't we, Marta? Waste of good wine. I'm sure we don't actually need to do this. Do what you like. Good night, everyone. They left. Margaret was huddled in conversation with Katherine again. They both looked quite serious, but Margaret was strumming a tune idly to cover whatever they were conversing about. Finally, Eustace emerged from the shadows once more. Is Marta supposed to continue being here? I feel like she's supposed to disappear. She carried that terrible blade with her. When the nuns invested in her cask-breaking plan started cheering, she held it aloft. Even Katherine joined in. The dark mood had once again evaporated. She had turned back into the Katherine I was used to seeing. Right. Who wants to go first? Let me take a swing. It should be Hedwig. Of course, that is a much better idea. Very fitting. Oh, no, I couldn't. Go on, Hedwig. Eustace approached me and held the sword out as if it were the most natural thing in the world. The pommel towards me, the blade resting at her side, balanced flat on her palm. Now, be very careful. Grasp it firmly with both hands. Everyone was looking at me expectantly. I don't know. Hedwig, Hedwig, Hedwig! Hedwig, Hedwig, Hedwig! Everyone cheering. Everyone began chanting in unison, even Eustace. There was nothing else for it. I took the sword in my hand and everyone cheered. How does it feel? It's much lighter than it looks. I saw my reflection in the blade. We don't often get to see Hedwig. So, Hedwig in the blade. It was an odd sensation. I suddenly felt very powerful. I turned the blade over. Oh, no. I did not press my mouse. I don't know why. It moved ahead on its own. Yeah. But okay. I turned the blade over with a quick flip. It felt so natural. I hadn't even held the sword for a minute, and I already felt as if I were equipped to take on the world. I was surprised to discover that there was an engraving in Hebrew on this side of the blade near the crossguard. How odd, I thought. Hebrew, huh? While I recognized the script, I could not read it. I didn't have long to muse over it, however. Step over here, careful now, to this cask, Sister Hedwig. Everyone else should stand back. Now lift it up. I was not really listening. I knew what to do. With a speed that evidently surprised Adela, I swung the blade down onto the top of the barrel in front of me. She knows how to wield a sword? Not bad. You must swing more confidently, though. Try. But I was already swinging the blade down again. The barrel gave way and red cherry came bursting forth all. Everyone cheered. The wine was all over my wimple and frock, but there was nothing I could do about that. I gave the broken barrel a few more gleeful hacks before Adela stayed my arm, laughing. Gleeful? Give someone else a turn. Who wants to go next, There are just enough casks for all of us to do one, I think. Everyone clamored around. Adela held her hand out to me expectantly. The sword? Hedwig? Oh, yes, of course. Oh, man. Now I wonder, what if it was Hedwig? Hedwig was the murderer all this time. I handed the sword back to her gingerly. I didn't want to let go. The crackling energy didn't subside, thankfully. Ooh, Adela took her turn next. She began her assault on a cask in front of her with a violent thrust into the dead center of the lid, as if she were attempting to pierce a wooden shield. The tip of the blade wedged itself between two of the planks as she pressed forward with a slight twist. The entire lid buckled and split apart immediately. Adela was covered head to toe by the sherry. She giggled, then held the sword aloft similar to the way Eustace had, and gave a mighty war cry. That is how it is done. The sisters present all clapped for the expert swordswoman, and she gave a little bow and held the sword out for the next contestant. Katherine stepped forward. The end of her cloak drifted atop a flood of wine that was spreading rapidly outward from our position. I suppose tomorrow will be a laundry day. You might need to get some new frocks. It's worth it. One by one, the rest of the sisters attacked the designated wine casks. Katherine opened with a horizontal swing that the rest of us instinctively ducked. Horizontal. She apologized and instead popped her cask with a wicked diagonal strike that crushed the angle where the lid and rim met. She hacked away at this opening until the lid splintered apart completely. Mora's turn took a moment to get going. Whereas I had been surprised at how light the sword felt, she clearly found it rather heavy. It was somewhat comical when she took the sword from Katherine and nearly fell over when the taller woman let go. She chopped away at the top of her barrel as if she was splitting firewood. It took some doing, but she got there eventually, and we all clapped and cheered as she gave us a slightly embarrassed bow. Eustace dispatched her cask with a shocking efficiency, however. In 7 rhythmic strikes, left, right, top, thrust, she completely shattered the lid. She hit it more times than Adela, but both of them were easily the most practiced. Oh, Darcy! Darcy held her sword by the blade when she stepped up, prompting all of us to rush forward to stop her. It's kind of sad, actually, now that I think about it, but Flora, the one who really misses Katherine the most, isn't even here to take part in all of this. All save for Adela, who began arguing that this was a perfectly valid technique. You'll hurt yourself. I wrap my hands in my sleeves. It will work. A pommel strike is actually very efficient, especially against these barrels. Darcy is not a soldier. She's going to... Darcy gave the bung of the barrel a surprisingly swift bat with the rounded bottom of the sword handle, while the others were arguing. It popped free instantly, spraying everyone with sour-smelling sherry. Easy. Eustace gave her friend a withering look. Good work, Darce. I told you. Margaret, it's your turn. Katherine had to call across the room to get Margaret's attention. I had not noticed that she had wandered so far afield. Margaret? Margaret did not answer. She was sitting on the bottom of the staircase back up to the cloister, her head buried in her arms. Oh. Perhaps she dozed off? It is rather late. And she volunteered to ring the bell tomorrow. However, Margaret was not asleep. She's crying! She lifted her head up from the depths of her cloak and stared at us balefully with glistening eyes. Man, everyone really misses Katherine. That much I can say. Every single one of them. Oh, this is scary. Isn't that... That's a skeleton. Kind of? Kind of? It's like a skull, but they have a body. And... Well, I'm gonna end here for today. Although that's kind of a cliffhanger. But... Margaret crying was quite a powerful scene. She's always so... not cold, but always just a bit distant. And she definitely has a lot of secrets. As Hedwig interacts with her, we bump into her quite a lot, and she has a lot of things that she doesn't share with us, and I think that's why it's a bit shocking to see her cry. I think a lot of people are crying though, and it feels so bad to suspect even one of them. But maybe Katherine, maybe Katherine, I don't know. Maybe the superior, I don't know. But I think people that I would like to rule out from potentially being the culprit will be Margaret, Flora, maybe Darcy because I'm biased. And I think Angela. I mean, I say rule them out, but that's just, you know, for now. I will keep an open mind, but man, this episode really played with my feelings a lot. Anyway, I think one thing that's interesting is how Eustace knows why we are out here investigating everyone. And I think everyone else will also know why we are out here, why Hedwig is out of the cell. So maybe that's why Katherine has been upset lately, that she knows that Hedwig is suspecting Katherine as culprit, as a murderer. Other than that though, I'm not really sure. I still can't really say who could be the culprit, and I think we will get more information as time passes. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Oh, wait! Look at my ears! Now they move! They move when I blink!